our first speaker today. I did actually mention H.Choy, a respected member of the Feng Shui community of long time, who sadly passed away this year. And a colleague of his is going to share a perspective, tribute to Howard, and that's Luigi STRAFFI, who's currently based, I believe I know you're from Rome, I think you're based in Rome now, Luigi. Luigi's an architect and designer, and he's an interesting long-standing career. In the 1970s, he was involved in radical architecture and design movements. And of course, being involved in that and in projects on bioarchitecture and ecological design, very much ahead of its time, I would say. That would lead anyone to a deep yearning for understanding of Feng Shui. And that's what he set up his own school in Rome in 2007, but made a collaboration for a European school with, or an international school with H.Choy, which is called the Feng Shui for Environmental Designers. And that's interesting, isn't it, to bring this knowledge through a knowledge of architecture for environmental design. So I'm going to pass the baton to you, Luigi. Welcome you. Thank you to share. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gina. Can I share the screen? Please excuse me if I read my speech. I'm not fluent in English, and my pronunciation too isn't great. Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to you all. Please forgive me for reading my speech. Unfortunately, I am not fluent in English. Today, I would like to take a few moments to remember together with you our dear friends and colleague Howard Choy, architect and Feng Shui master. But before I begin, I would like to thank the Feng Shui Society for this kind invitation. It is always a pleasure to be back here among colleagues and friends. I founded the Feng Shui Architecture and Design School in 2007. And in 2016, something truly special began, a close collaboration with Howard. He used to come to Rome twice a year to teach at my school, and it was there that he met Daniela, who was a student at the time. In 2020, our collaboration took a new form. We officially launched FSED, Feng Shui for an Environmental Designer, a project born from our shared vision. Howard, Daniela, and myself, three architects passionate about Feng Shui, with one common goal: to create an open intercultural school founded on a deep love for teaching beyond the usual boundaries. And today, but remember Howard with all my heart. To me, he was not only an unforgettable partner, but also a true friend. And I know that for many of you here today, he was a dear friend as well. It's now been 4 months since he began his journey beyond his work. I can no longer see him, but I like to imagine him somewhere practicing Qigong or quietly sketching a peaceful landscape in pencil. To his students, he was a brilliant teacher, a tireless guide, and above all, a person of great humanity and empathy. At FSED, we worked as a team to create a new approach to Feng Shui, one that responds to the needs of our time while remaining faithful to its classical roots. That's how our experiment approach was born, one that today is supported by a growing digital library of case study and written materials. And as I speak to you today, I truly feel that Howard is still with us in the ideas we continue to explore in the project that lie ahead in the international community that, thanks in part of him, continue to grow and evolve. Thanks you for listening. And now I showed you only some slides with the How library, digital library. The FSED library is the result of 5 intense years of Feng Shui courses and masterclasses taught by the FSED teaching team, collected in a digital library of illustrated PDF books and lessons recordings. H.Choy, with his legacy of knowledge and ethics, is the light that illuminated this work. We hope it has served and continues to be a source of inspiration for Feng Shui students and researchers. Daniel and I will continue with this work in open talks. And the last, the FSED philosophy, think Feng Shui outside the box. This statement means having a deep understanding of the principle and school that make up the vast body of Feng Shui teachings. Such understanding, combined with a clear vision of today's world issues, allows for flexible, contextual and creative solutions, avoiding the rigid and predetermined imposition of rules and principles. It is essential to recognize that each situation is unique and deserves an original and specific approach. What does in the future hold for FSED? In the near future, FSED will continue to be a Feng Shui training school for those who identify with its experimental methodology. Here, the skills of qualified Feng Shui consultants will be refined, enabling them to work behind rigid frameworks and without drifting in the misleading New Age interpretation. Thank you for your attention.
Luigi, thank you very much. That's really lovely. Lovely to hear about Howard. And now we're going to talk to your partner in your endeavor with the Feng Shui for environmental design. That's Daniela Pastore. We're inviting Daniela now to do a presentation. She's going to do a case study. Daniela is a landscape architect and Feng Shui consultant. She has been studying and since 2015, integrating classical Chinese Feng Shui into her practice, is teaching this new holistic design to architects, which is something that's much needed people involved in the building of communities and new homes really will benefit from having this knowledge. And in 2024, she launched her own brand of Deep Feng Shui, a deeper level of learning. So Daniela, I'm going to invite you to give your presentation. I think it's 20 or 30 minutes. You actually know. I'm going to retreat and let you bring up your slides.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Welcome.
Okay. Yes. So here we are. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm muted.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yes.
So I first would like to thank you, Gina and the Feng Shui Society for this invitation. It's a great honor and opportunity. Also, I would like to thank all the participants to this meeting because we share this passion, this love for Feng Shui. And I would like to thank you, Luigi, for this introduction and this tribute to Howard, because each time that I listen to Luigi talking about Howard, I come in touch with my emotions about all the years that we spent together, but most of all the spirit that was connecting us and probably still connect us in what we do. I had the privilege to work with Howard for 5 years. This is when I think about it, I really am extremely grateful because it was a cooperation. It was almost a daily cooperation for 5 years because by creating these courses, we always were challenging us so much in proposing new topics, but also always reinforcing the methodology that we were also developing and challenging each time. And one of the most nicest aspects of the courses, I think, were the case studies. We asked the students to propose case studies that they were working at as professionals or something related to their own experience. And when I was asked to choose a case study, I immediately know I wanted to bring this one that I will show you because for us, Feng Shui is really about relationship. And I think that this project not only practically talks about relationships, but also from a symbolic point of view, is the representation of how Feng Shui can help to create spaces that allow to integrate differences inside the houses, inside the working environments, everywhere. So for Feng Shui, it's so important that we live with differences, that we are able to always adapt and create new differentiations. But by doing this, it's important to have spaces that support this process. And this project is exactly about this. It is a duplex for a multicultural and multigenerational family in Campbell, California, USA. And it was proposed by one of our most beloved practitioners, which is also a golden member of this school. And so here we are. First of all, what is a duplex? A duplex is a home made of 2 distinct and interconnected units. So you see here Unit 1 and Unit 2, and they are inside the same property. The 2 units have separate entries, as you can see on these 2 sides, and they share a courtyard, in this case, a northern courtyard, and also they have a small passage in the center that connects the two houses, the 2 units. And here we see a very, very special, beautiful family. It is a multicultural nucleus, also multigenerational. The mother is French, the father is Indian, and the 3 daughters are American. In addition, the Indian grandmother also lives with these family members, and she is settled in the 2nd unit, while the rest of the family is in this Unit 1, which is slightly bigger. And also, this connect us to what Gina was saying. The eldest daughter has an autism problem. So there is also, while the other 2 daughters are very knit twins. So it's really a very special family where you understand how crucial is the position of the father, who actually is the only man of the family, which is significant, but also is engaged into the family in a triple relationship of being a father, husband, and son. So the project, the site is in Campbell, which is a city in Santa Clara County, California. The area is in the Silicon Valley in the San Francisco Bay Area. The dwelling is located in a flat residential area, which is fairly homogeneous and consists primarily of single-family homes. Service and facilities are available nearby. This is an aerial view looking from south to north. One special feature of this house, it is on the corner block. And we know that the property on the street corner has greater potential than a central one because it has more access opportunity from the street and therefore has greater flexibility in the use. The house, as you see, is oriented according to the cardinal directions. And in fact, we see here the entries. The unit 1 has got both entry door and garage door on the south side, while unit 2 has got entry and garage door on the east side. Here we see some picture approaching the property, here moving from west to east. It's interesting to see how the boundary of the property is structured, or better, not structured, because you see that the vegetation is recede on the facing, and actually there is not a real efficacious containment along the property. So here we see the facing with entry door of unit 1 and garage door always of unit 1. We go along the corner, and so we turn around the property to reach here the second unit, which has its own entry here and with the garage entry at that point. And here we see the regional organization of the two dwellings. Unit 1 is clearly defined by the red line, is where the 5 occupants, the family with the 3 daughters live, while Unit 2 is the yellow one, where the Indian grandmother lives, but also the father's home office is located. Interesting to see that the two units are connected by this blue connection space, which actually puts in connection Unit 1 to Unit 2, and also put in connection this, let's say, this transition space to the courtyard. The courtyard is actually connected to the transition space and also directly to the kitchen of Unit 2. We can appreciate already a little bit how is the organization. We will see some pictures. So we will enter first in Unit 1. We will look at the living and the passage to the dining and kitchen, and also we will take a look to this long corridor and to this huge garage. And then we will move to Unit 2. We will enter and mainly focus, we will look at the living, mainly look at the kitchen, which is the one which is directly connected to the outside and to the connection space. So this is the living of Unit 1. And here on this side, you see the door leading to the dining room, which has a good potential to connect to the outdoor space, which is not big, but actually can be used. And on the other side, we see the filter to the kitchen. Here we see the long corridor at the entry. And on the other side, the garage, which actually, even if it's very big, it's used as a deposit. And here we take a look to this connection space, as you see, connecting directly to the courtyard. This is the courtyard, which is facing north. So actually, it's not that sunny. And now we pass to Unit 2. We have here the main entry. We see that the main entry has got a wheelchair ramp in the outside, together in the occupying, let's say, this outside area. This is actually let's say the larger, the wider area on the outside that has potential to be used. Look how they tend to recede the vegetation along the facing and less along the boundary. This is interesting because they do not really annex this space. You see, this is one of the topics that we will look at. The same we see here. And here, entering Unit 2, we see the living room and the Indian grandmother's kitchen. So let's go on. Now we will treat aspects related to the human chi. So most of all, we are trying to deeply understand what are the needs of the family. So, and the mother who asked for the Feng Shui consultation tells us that the building was built in 1964, so P6. The family settled there in 2010. When they bought the property, they made some internal renovation, but at that time, in 2021, the family was asking for a Feng Shui consultation to undertake another renovation. And they ask for a core where they can meet. So for the most important request is about to have a space where all these family members can meet and have family lives. So the family loves most the good sun exposure of the property, the amount of internal space, the division into 2 units, and the ease of access to both. What they do not like is the lack of fluidity between spaces, the bad use of the large garage, which is wasted as storage space, the insufficient connection with the external spaces, and the lack, as we were saying, of a larger space where family can gather. And this is very important. It's something that we always do when we have a case study. We make a detailed list of all the objectives of the Feng Shui consultation. It's a way to have a very clear relationship to the client, and also for us to always maintain an adherence, a connection to the reference which is given, in order to stay on the points in this case. I will read them because it's important to understand what are the objectives that we are going for. So remove the 2 fireplaces because they are not used by the family. Modify and make the garage space more useful and practical, since family is lacking living space for larger group gatherings. Improve the overall flow, and with modest construction changes, create space that has better flow and functionality for family and their in-laws. Plan possible space or room for future assisting living or nanny helper, or create a guest room space. Since the family doesn't have much backyard space, to use the front yard, and especially the east and south side. Create transition that both sides, family and mother-in-law, can gather. Mother-in-law loves to cook in the kitchen all the time, also likes to rearrange the in-laws side for the better flow, and also enhance this nice potential. Family is open to suggestion that could be short and long term. They plan to stay in the house for the next 10-15 years. Maximize the value and merge the house in such a way that in case they want to sell it, or to sell only one part of it in the future, that they gain value. Make modification of the garage, since they do not use it for car parking, and move washer and dryer closer to master bedroom. So you see, there are different kind of objectives. For sure, the most important one, and the one which is guiding our approach, is that they are asking us to create a heart for a multi-generational living by linking up the 2 dwellings. So our question is, how can we create a vibrant space where the family members can meet and can cultivate the relationship harmoniously? How can we create this beautiful space that connects the 2 units by maintaining the identity, but creating a new space where the family can gather? And for us, for sure, as architects, it's also about giving a very good quality to this space. So our contribution to the project, it's for us, it's fundamental to define that from a methodological point of view. We work with the H.Choy methodology for Feng Shui analysis and audit. And this is one of the strongest heritage that we have from Master H.Choy. It means that always when we look at a situation, we analyze it on 3 different levels. So we look at the earth chi, at the human chi, and the heaven chi. In this specific case, talking about earth chi, we will use a tool which is the chi flow study to look at the internal circulation, identify in both identify the best area to join up the 2 dwellings and to improve the chi flow in both units. Regarding the human chi, we will use the tool of the yin-yang organizational study. So we will identify the public and private areas, distinguishing them into the dwelling, and by looking at this and also understand what is the most optimal area to link up. And then we will look to the heaven chi. In this case, we will look to a Venn diagram to compare the result raised from the earth and the human chi with this abstract tool that actually shows us where this in-between space would be obviously located. So with this outcome, so having earth chi, human chi, and heaven chi and comparing them, we will have an outcome. With this outcome, then we will check with the compass school calculation to ensure that the tangible and the intangible, the form and the formless, can have a connection. So the 2 schools of Feng Shui can lead us to a holistic outcome. And always from a methodological point of view, for us, it's very important to have in mind the concept of Wu Wei and of Beng Qing. So Wu Wei is best translated as effortless action. By knowing the practical reality of a situation, and in this case, the Beng Qing, which is the original character of the dwelling, we can define and understand what can we really change and what we cannot change. And this helps us to identify the unexpressed potential of the dwelling. So when we look at the material aspect of the dwelling, we also look at the immaterial. When we look at the manifest, we also look at the not manifest. So not only about what is visible, but also this potential, which is an opportunity that we can, it's not visible to anyone, to everybody, but it's so important to see. So in this way, we can make efficacious modification with the minimal of efforts. This means that we can lead to a practical and economical effective way to realize the potential of a dwelling at the service of its inhabitants. So the best way to work with Qi is to both work with matter and its potential to become, and by this to achieve efficacy. So let's go in our contribution that I just now presented. So Earth Qi analysis. Here we have the analysis of the Qi flow. We immediately see that the area that are most involved in this transformation are the one in the center. So we have a potential of the garage that we can make a better use of it. We see that the space together is very small. So we have to work on this. The courtyard is not so much used. So actually all this band in the center between the 2 buildings is full of potential that can be developed. Also, looking at the distinct units, we see some contradictions and aspects that can be for sure improved. For instance, if we look to unit 1, we see this long, narrow corridor. as a distribution space, which is quite closed and not really communicating. The same we can say of the living and the kitchen. Also, there is the potential to make better use of the external spaces. We look to the wash machine that are all for both units in this area, which means that to use them, unit 1 has to pass through the grandmother's kitchen, which is not very functional. And also interesting, we see that the father's office is in a position that let's say that in order to reach it from unit 1, he also has to pass from the kitchen. So actually the chi flow that connects to it is not ideal at all. We know that the kitchen is a very important space for the grandmother because she loves to cook. And so according to this, in looking to the chi flow, we register many information about the way that we can, let's say, make it more fluid. Then let's go to the yin and yang organizational study. We simply make the distinction between the night areas, which are the blue one, and the day areas, which are the red one. For sure, this communal space, this heart space of the house, should be also an element which is able to connect the yang areas of the two houses. And it is very interesting because they are somehow reversed. So you see they connect on this diagonal, and exactly on this diagonal we already have two connections. So actually accepting and looking at the beijing of the house, we already get information what is the best way to connect the daily area with this cross connection between the yang areas that, let's say, suggest us also to create as a larger space by getting some space from the garage which is not used. And here we look also at the potential of improved chi flow, connecting the yang area, so making the yang areas more fluid, and to connect directly with this new resource, this new bigger space that will be both accessible from unit 1 and unit 2. But it will happen in a let's say, distinct way. And we look at the heaven chi with the Venn diagram, which actually is simply the idea of looking what is the obvious place where the meeting between the two happens. And for sure it is in the middle, as also the earth chi and the human chi is confirming. And here comes a very deep point for me, because it's always about the connection between yin and yang, and this third element that comes to birth. So when two separate entities connect by sharing a space of integration, a third being is born, a space that has a plus value and that allows both distinct units to live a new life. So this space of integration becomes the heart of the house. And also it includes the courtyard. So it means not only it connects the two units, not only connects the generation, but also it is the gate to the outdoor space. And here you see the project starting from the core, the new core of the house that can get the light from above. In this way, the heaven chi and the earth chi would be connected, and also has direct access to the courtyard. Then we also see that we made the connection between the yang areas of unit 1 much more fluid, so that this new heart of the house is directly connected to unit 1, but also has a door connected directly to unit 2 and to the grandmother's kitchen. We see that we reversed the father office with the grandma bedroom, and this gives us the opportunity to use another band of the garage to connect directly the unit 1 to the father's garage. And we turned the second garage of unit 2 into a hotel-like apartment for an assisted living or worker to live in. We relocated the laundry in the courtyard, which now is a place which is also useful for the people. And we relocated the eldest daughter's bed according to her Mingwa in order to improve her health potential. Here you see the landscaping plan also, where the idea is to be able to gather the qi along the property. And we check at the end with the heaven qi analysis. What we do is looking at the natal chart of the 2 units, we look at what happens in the intersection of the 2 charts where the heart of the house is located. And here we have sector east from unit 1 and sector west from unit 2. And it's really nice because comparing the 2 water stars and the 2 mountain stars of the 2 sectors, we see that we have 4 and 6 as mountain stars, which represent the first daughter and the father. And we have as water stars the 8 and the 2, which is the third son and the mother. So somehow the flying stars are telling us what is the point of the whole project, and how this new heart, this new communal space will be able to improve these relationships for health and also for the wealth of the family. So in conclusion, we have reduced the size of the garage and used the extra space to create a heart for the 3 generational livings together, yet remain distinct as 2 dwellings for the son with his family in one house and his mother next door. This space in between receives light from above to represent a place where heaven meets earth. By doing this, we transform the transition space between the 2 dwellings in a communal meeting place, a heart of the whole family, and for the mother-in-law. This is the core that will bond everyone together in a meeting place with an outdoor connection. So the internal space can link up with the external courtyard at the same time. As a result of this additional linking space, we have created a better qi flow for the duplex. So now the grandmother's cooking can be enjoyed by everyone in the heart space of the house. So, and this is the final plan. You see that in the heart of the house, we suggested to have a bigger table where they can meet to eat together, but that can also use to study. It was COVID time, as Gina was saying, and at that time it was so important to create new spaces, but I think today it's still so important where people can spend time by doing activities and feel gathered and feel together in the heart of the family. So thank you very much.
Daniela, well done. That was brilliant, and showed so many examples of how a home has many different needs. You know, all those generations. Interesting, the different cultures. It's fascinating, interesting idea to have 2 homes attached. That's very American. That was fantastic. We're going to move on to another presentation, but we have a section later where we can perhaps ask questions. So that's
thank you.
Yes, so we'll invite you back for people to do that. But we're going to move on to the next presentation now. So thank you so much. That was really great, really great. So welcome back. Now we're going to take questions for Daniela's presentation, her case study. It's always wonderful to watch case studies and see that detail. And so we have questions. Liz, you have a question.
Yes, I have. Fascinating case study. One thing that struck me, I didn't notice any mention of the husband's wife in, I know this may seem trivial, but as a sociologist with one hat on, I'm actually a professional gardener these days, but I couldn't help noticing the absence of a woman, a key woman in the house as well, in the case study. It is not a criticism, it's an observation, and there may be reasons for that. So yeah, no, but I did enjoy your discussion of your case study. Quite fascinating. I'm moving into a new home shortly, so I'd like a Feng Shui consultant services actually, but I have quite a long association with Feng Shui, not as a consultant though. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you so much. Actually, the wife is the person who asked for the Feng Shui consultation. So all the objectives that we listed are the result of her point of view. So I consider that the fact also of going through the presentation in such a fast way was not giving opportunity to enter in some details, but actually all the consultation is structured around her. And I think that one of it's a strong complexity in such a family, but I think that one of her needs were to be completely autonomous from the second unit. So for instance, to not have to enter the second unit to make her work. And also, let's say, to give more a more strong role to Unit 1, to be stronger in comparison to Unit 2. And also there are some details. This woman left her career in order to work for her family, to stay home, while the father still is the breadwinner, exactly, the breadwinner of the family. So she is receding somehow. You are reading well, where somehow she is receding in a position of being more yin, being more passive, but also needing at that time to be able to gather. So I think she will be in this way of disappearing. She is really the heart of this new gathering place, where all the beautiful Nani is somehow present, can give her richness, but at the same point is also, let's say, it's also contained in her room.
I got the impression that Grandma, and no disrespect to Grandma either at all, was, how can you put, not exactly dominant, but there was a power imbalance there somehow. There's a possible a cultural aspect to this. The family is partly Indian, is that right? Yeah. But,
yes, the grandmother and the son are both Indian, so yeah. They somehow the majority. And for instance, to move the father's home office in a way that this is closer to Unit 1, that is directly accessible from Unit 1, is also a way to change a model. I mean that the son is autonomous, doesn't have to pass along the mother's spaces to go in the space where he is adult. You know, he is adult and it has his own family. So I think this is also part of the fact, but are aspects that during the consultation for sure raise, and not always it's easy to enter in these relationships when we make a very fast communication. But thank you so much for going and and asking in this direction, because it's really part of the consultation. It's the most lovely part, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that as a sociologist you spotted that, and it shows you how interdisciplinary Feng Shui is. There's so many things to consider, and it is interesting to have two they are two matriarchs in a house where sparks didn't seem to be obviously flying, but patriarch, matriarch. Who's the matriarch? The older woman, the man's mother. And it's subtle, but I think the rearrangement of the the mother's room further away from the heart of the home and the father in. These are very interesting and subtle dynamics. So it was great you flagged that up, Liz, and it was a great answer, Daniela. Thank you. I've got a couple more questions here. Carolyn is saying, my understanding is if the building has internal connection, it cannot be treated as two separate units. A true duplex share a wall with no interconnection, so I don't see how the case study is treated as a duplex. Interested in your explanation of this decision. I understand different entries and corner block. It is an unusual house, isn't it, Daniela? So yes, are you clear on that question?
Not really, because the question is about the typology of the duplex, if it's a duplex or not, or it's about if we consider it as 2 or 1 units according to, for instance, flying stars. I don't grasp exactly the point of the question.
Carolyn, have I, where's Carolyn? Can't find Carolyn. Gallery, Carolyn. Where is Carolyn? Did you want to ask that question if we haven't? Carolyn, I cannot see Carolyn, so maybe she asked the question. Oh, there's Carolyn. Carolyn, do you want to ask the question? Do you want to amplify? Oh, yes. What do you? Yeah, Carolyn is saying, yes, why did you classify it as a duplex? It's a terminology question, not a flying star question.
Okay, so I define a duplex, house combined of 2 units, which are autonomous because they have independent entries, which also from a Feng Shui definition defines that it is 2 bodies, 2 different entities, but they are connected, interconnected by a transition space. So I consider this a duplex.
Very, very interesting, isn't it? It's a very interesting house. Thank you, Daniela. And Felicity, she says, how did you go about agreeing the objectives with all the family and your own assessment of the home and its use?
How do we agree the objectives of the consultation? That's it?
Yeah, Felicity, do we need to amplify that question? Is that okay? Are you clear, Daniela?
Yeah.
I'm going to add the spotlight. Felicity.
Hi, hello.
Hello. Did you want me to clarify the question?
Yes, just so that Daniela understands.
Well, I just thought as a Feng Shui environmental architectural practitioner, you might go into a situation where you can very quickly assess what the problems are and the solutions. And how do you navigate that with what the different family members are saying as to what they want you to do?
Okay, so for me, I understand behind this question that probably you are mentioning the fact that there are some needs and objectives which are explicit and are somehow people are conscious about the needs. Other aspects are more implicit. Let's say that are somehow needs and objectives of the project that we have to get with our intuition. So we always work in a way that our objectives are very concrete. Okay, but at the same time, we always know that behind a concrete demand, behind a concrete need, there is always another part which is hidden, that it's also part of the problem. And this is a kind of, we learn to listen in the sense that we don't only, it's always a yin and yang consideration. We always question the need from another point of view, from the opposite one. By doing this, which is something that we, with our methodology, do somehow in a heart of thinking method, we somehow get more intuition about some connection and correlations that gives us information. And so at one point, it is about some concrete transformation, but everything talks about relationship. So if I can just add one point, I was thinking to this some minutes before. The two houses, the two units at the beginning were showing the shoulders to each other. They were not really communicating, and the transition space between was a space of periphery. We decided that it's like two persons that are shoulder to shoulders to turn, embrace, and also in this central point between the two to put the best of architectural solutions that you can have. So it means when you are in relation to somebody, it's not a periphery. This can be and become the heart of your life. So it means put relation in the center. To the fact that there is a daughter with autism problem in the family is also somehow connecting to probably a problem of communication and of sharing the different worlds and words and languages that are in play. So we created the space by, let's say, turning the two duplex, looking to each other and say, okay, the right limit, we accept the right boundaries, but what we share is the best.
Very good, very good. I mean, you're right. The subtlety is always needed. We don't come in, these are our rules, this is our practice. It is bringing information, the wisdom that we have from wherever we're bringing it. And then, as you say, listening and being subtle. Subtlety is always important.
Sí.
And you pointed out about the, relationship being key. I'm going to bring up two more questions. And
thank you so much.
Lovely, thanks for asking that, Felicity. Ron, first question, did the renovation get done? When I first saw the family, I first saw an I Ching hexagram number 7, the army.
The army. Okay, so I mean, this is a case study that we received from a practitioner, a professional practitioner that participated in the course. So we were not directly involved with the family. But when I was looking again with Google Earth on the house, I saw that some changes occurred. Okay, some of them occur, I mean, I cannot see inside, but what I see is that they applied the landscaping project of building a stronger boundary around the house, and they made some modification to the roof because it changed color, and they also used some photovoltaic energies. They integrated photovoltaic energies. I did not see that they created the sky well, or the sky window that we suggested.
That was a brilliant suggestion.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened inside, but we always have to accept that we did not have a direct role in this consultation.
Lovely, thanks, Anna. One last question, Stella. If I ask, was there any point in your mentioned project where you did not know exactly how to deal with a certain part of the house, or any challenge, and how do you proceed in such a situation? Well, we know that it was one of your team that did this, so you weren't there. So that question is really not necessarily project specific, because you weren't there, so you don't know how to, I don't think you know how to answer that exactly, except how does one proceed in such a situation where you're not sure what to do with a certain part of the house?
Okay, we never know what to do. Okay, we never know what to do at the beginning. One part of the brilliant experience with Howard is that he was the one that at one point came with the strong solution. So this was one of the first projects that we did with him, and I was always, like, how can he know? So I mean, it's so clear, I know, but I need more time. I'm not so clear. And he was really a genius from this point of view. And one of the aspects that I mostly noticed in this project is that the family didn't ask to relocate the father's home office. This was an idea of Howard, because he there interpreted a need. And if you look at it, it's genius, because he's putting the home office of the father closer to Unit 2, which means it's a space, it's part of this space of transition, of this space of relation. Also, there is more proximity and with a direct connection from Unit 2. I think he simply thought about this guy living with 5 women. And said, yeah, for sure, imagine he's free to get in his home office, to go from one unit to other as he wants, without being seen, completely on his own, next to the main entry. So if you want, he can also go for a coffee and nobody sees him. He was for Howard, it was clear to give more autonomy, more strength, and more value to this breadwinner, also more freedom and dignity and strength. This was very clear for him, and I didn't think about it anyway. And they did not ask for it, but it is a brilliant solution.
Absolutely, the need to be unobserved.
Yeah.
It's a big need. That's brilliant. That's a great answer. Well, we're now at 28 minutes past the hour. Daniela, thank you so much. And I also, apart from what a great presentation, commend you, like our other speakers. Like, English is not necessarily your first native language, and you've done a brilliant job at articulating all the nuances here. So a thank you from me and for everybody for taking this on in English.
Thank you so much.
And thanks also for a great program that the Feng Shui Society Executive Committee have put together. Veronica particularly, and Victoria and Alex particularly are here and have done a great job in putting this together. So thank you for that. As we're now 29 minutes past the hour, I think if everybody agrees with me, I'm going to put it on pause recording.